the beans like we used to do. Pass the beans. Pass the beans like we used to do. Pass the beans.
Pass the beans.
Pass the beans.
Pass the beans.
Pass the beans. The Beans Talk. Hey, Bean fam. It is the Beans Talk podcast, and we're coming back at you with another episode.
Hey.
Yeah, man. We are 4 educators of color bringing you raw, authentic conversation about society views and community engagement. Everybody, I am Fabs.
I'm Stef. Hey, y'all.
What's up, fam? It's Ro.
And this is TJ.
Yeah, man. We're back for another episode. It feels good every time. I love doing this. It's fun. Fun stuff. Fun stuff. But...
what a week.
What a week.
It was a tough one.
What a month.
Full week.
It was January 56th, 2020.
2023.
That's what I felt
We went through 3 years of just January. And so much had happened during this time. You know, the passing of Kobe.
Yeah.
That was heavy. I feel like for like a lot of people, oddly enough. Actually, I'm not surprised. I feel like when somebody that has made a large impact generationally across seas, across many lives, it's like it becomes very heavy. You know what I mean? There's like a certain energy that's put out there. So, yeah.
I didn't expect to have such a deep reaction. I remember we were just out, we were having lunch and we were chilling, then it just popped up on the screen and it was like the whole vibration was different after that.
I was like, well, is this a joke? And I felt like it was a weird vibe that day anyway, but really that moment where I thought it was a joke at first, and I'm not the only person that actually thought it was a joke, but then when you actually noticed that it was like really serious, like this actually happened, I was like, damn, that's no joke.
And then the Grammys, the Grammys were the same night, and they did a tribute to him.
They
it was
did.
like very impromptu. And Alicia Keys did a really good job. I mean, she's like the perfect person to do it. So she's like all about love and
her sultry voice.
And they made it about like celebrating his impact and just like kind of appreciating every second that you can when you're on this earth.
And appreciating your people too. I feel like there were a lot of like folks coming forward who like had beefs and disagreements with other people, and they were just like ending that because you really can be here and the next second gone. And you know, this was a man who was doing really positive things for the community. Like he loved his family. He was an amazing father. He was giving back to his community. He was doing all of the things that you would expect somebody who's really trying to lead with love and have a really positive impact to be doing. And then just like bam, you know.
But I was just thinking, just like kind of like how you pointed out, it's just interesting, like to take a moment and see the legacy that he actually left behind. And he was really big on that. Like, what are you going to pretty much be doing so that to get other people to get up, stand up and get moving, you know, and act on their passions and stuff like that. And so I guess for the Do Now in honor of, you know, Kobe Bryant, I just really want to know, like, what is something that you guys would like to leave behind? It doesn't have to be like grand scheme or like the level of impact that Kobe had, but like just in general, like what is it that you would like to leave behind before you go?
That's heavy.
It is.
I feel like we had a legacy question before too, and this one feels different. I don't know.
I know for me, like this journey of I'm on being published, like that's something that I'm doing from my own personal goal, but it is something really unique and special about like having a body of work that represents you, and that once you're dead and gone, people can like read it and say, who was Terrence Jefferson? Like who was TJ? And that's really, really important. It kind of reminds me of the movie. Have you seen Troy? The movie Troy? Like, you know how Brad Pitt's character Achilles was all about like leaving behind, like when you're dead, like who's gonna keep your name going? And for me, it would be this being published. I think that's how I'm going to be eternal, I guess.
That's great.
That's dope.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. I can go next if you want to.
Yeah, that's You have yours already? I do.
Okay, go ahead. Good.
Well, I was just thinking, for me, I've always just been very big about like family and this cycle of breaking generational curses, and I've always really wanted to be a parent, and so I'm hoping that I can, God willing, that's in my story, that the legacy I would leave behind is them. Or, nice. And if it's, not directly my own children, those who are close to me in the next generation, like passing on something valuable for them and equipping them to move ahead. I feel like we're only as good as what we leave for the generation after us. And so I feel like if you are passing something valuable along to the generation, it will live on forever, because then it continues to just keep going down a lineage in a sense. So
keeps going and going.
I like it. You good, Ro? Or
I'm still
need a little
thinking,
bit of time?
yeah.
All right. So for me, a legacy that I would like to leave behind is I would like for people to know me as a person that brought people together to have like fun, good times, share laughs, and just simply enjoy the now, the present, and the people surrounding you. But yeah, like a person that spread love, full of kindness, always there, reliable. But yeah, and whether that's large scale or small scale, like if that's one person, I'm
that's
good.
Fine.
I feel good. That could, at least, that's a seed that somebody will be able to take with them and maybe plant other people's lives. And maybe it will be a ripple effect and become large scale in the future.
I like that. I think, I don't know, for some reason, thinking about this question, Fabiola Bebe, I'm thinking about what do I want people to say at is it called a eulogy?
At your funeral?
At my funeral.
In a eulogy,
yeah. And I'm just thinking about what are some things I want people to highlight. And I know something that is important. I want people to be like, Ro allowed me to exist as me. Whatever that meant. She just let people be who they are.
Yeah.
I know that sounds probably so cliche and corny, but I really want people to know that their time with me, they didn't have to try to be anybody else but themselves.
Yeah, and that's actually really important.
That's deep, because that's
everybody
rare.
doesn't get that. Yeah.
I hope that whoever does speak for me or about me, man, they can say that she just let me exist as myself in a world that did not want me to be okay with myself. So I think that's the legacy I want to leave behind, though.
That's dope.
Yes.
And that's huge. That's really, really big. And I feel like Kobe walked in a pretty similar manner. He was very open to having other people pretty much be themselves. I think he always approached everyone with love. At least that's what it seems like. And that's what a lot of people are saying. So
remember this scandal he was a part of?
Yeah.
Back in the 90s?
Yeah, that came up. And I think somebody resurfaced that during this time. And I think that's just a weird time to bring it up. To be honest,
I'm not trying to diminish.
Not you. I'm saying the person that did bring it up. It's not you, but I'm saying
there was somebody brought it up, and then another person made a video about people trying to bring that up during this time. I have to find it, but it was pretty much saying now's not the time, now's not the place.
And he was acquitted of those charges anyway. So
true.
Why bring it back up?
Yeah. Yeah, that was what, and it was a very raw moment for a lot of people, and I think it wasn't appropriate. And so your word was not going to get across in that time. So if you're going to say something, you should have said it. You need to either hold off for another time, or I don't know. I think a lot more thought should have gone into the delivery and the time to deliver it.
It also reminds me that it's not about being a perfect person. Kobe wasn't perfect. He had, but he is overall, his impact transcended any of the BS that was trying to kind of thrown his way. It just reminds me that we all have things about us that if I die, people can dig up dirt and say but he did this and he did that. Well, I think everyone has that.
Yeah, they could definitely dig up dirt. DJ.
Yeah, let's not. Don't take it too far. But we're not all one thing, and even Kobe, he was not just this saint. He had
he's human.
He's a human being.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, that's not what it was. It was about his impact, and
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. But yeah, thank you guys for sharing during that do now.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's go ahead and hop into our next segment. We got
Reese.
What was that?
That was B.
I know. Why didn't you finish the word?
I don't know. I didn't like the dance that Ro was putting on just now. I wasn't quite sure how to move with the dance.
This was the excited recess dance.
So
the
we
bell
got
just rang.
recess.
Yes, we do. I love recess.
No, TJ. No, that's not the dance.
I didn't. Always trying to do a dance. Oh man, recess. Yes, I'm excited to break away and just let's just have some fun. That's what recess was all about. So something that I was thinking about, man. You know, I'm always thinking, friends. How many of us
have them?
Yeah, but I was trying to make it. Okay, okay, stop.
Ones we can depend on.
You know the real song. Friends. Ooh.
I don't know this song.
How many owe you money?
Oh.
Friends.
Oh, okay. That's where the song got cut off.
Oh, friends owe you money. Oh, nah.
So something I wanted to bring to the table, man, to the Bean fam, and I wanted to hear from you guys. So what in the world do you do when a friend owes you money and they haven't paid you back? Okay. So I feel like everyone always tells us like friends and money and business should never mix. Don't bring it together. Don't combine it. We've been hearing that forever and a day, but yet we still let our friends loan some money. So something that I honestly believe is that at some point in all of our lives, you're going to owe somebody money or somebody's going to owe you money, especially like a friend of yours. There has been time where teacher has called me a broke bitch and I needed...
I still do.
You said, TJ.
Yes.
I was like, a teacher told you that?
No, TJ. But no, there have been times where I've had to like borrow... Okay. There have been times where I've had to borrow money from friends, but like, you know, it just happens. Sometimes your people need a quick little loan and you provide that. But my question always is like, what happens when they don't give you the money back? So typically, if I borrow some money from someone, I'll send you that Cash App amount eventually, and I'll even drop a couple of extra dollars because we all know Cash App charges when you want the money immediately, and that shit's whack. If you ever noticed that. I don't know if y'all ever paid attention to it. I get hot.
Yeah.
I get hot, but I will eventually just give you the money back. But my question is, when they don't give you the money back, do you follow up with the person? But it's your homie. What do you do? Do you just let it like slide to keep the peace, or do you bring it back up, or do you send them a Venmo request? And I just wonder, like, what do you do?
I've had many cases like this before, and I've had cases where things panned out to my expectations and then not so much to my expectations. But the way that I move after is really the most important part. First off, I never actually loan anybody a large sum of money, especially if I've never loaned you a little bit of money in the first place.
Okay.
So if you have never, if you've asked to borrow money from me, like $20 or something like that, first off, if you're asking to borrow money, I want to know when you're going to plan on returning it.
So you ask that up front?
Yeah. I need to know, like, when are you planning on returning it if you're going to borrow money? And then if you miss that deadline, I may or may not follow up with you. If I do follow up with you, usually it's family or something like that, and I'll be like, hey, what's up? Looking for those $20. And then I'll say, I just sent a Cash App request.
Okay.
That's pretty much plain and simple. If I don't follow up with you, and you try to ask me again, which has also happened to me before, I pretty much let you know, like, I can't actually let you borrow money because you're still in debt right now. So I can't let you borrow any more money. And it's not even about until, because I can't guarantee that I'm going to get this money back.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, what if you don't need to borrow $20 anymore? If you want to ask for $20 because you need $20, and I don't have an expectation that I'm going to be looking, an expectation that I'm going to get my $20 back or $50, however much it is back, then that means I just gifted you this money.
Okay.
Then I have no expectation of actually getting the money back. But if you say borrow, I want a deadline on when you're going to, I want a deadline on when I'm going to get that money back. Let me stop. I want a deadline on when I'm going to get that money back. And I am expecting to receive that money back. And I might actually go ahead and send you a request, or I reach out to you, be like, yo, what's going on with the, I actually had, like, what's going on with the $100 I sent you? Or what's going on with the $20? What's going on with the $30? For certain people, I definitely will. For other people, it's just kind of like, all right, now I know I'm just not going to let you borrow money ever again.
Yeah, same
That's
here.
just how I move.
I think I'm on the same page as Fabiola. I think one is reminding people. Now sending the request is like reminding them. You can remind them without having to say anything. And like if you get that request, that's like a poke saying like, oh yeah, don't forget this. What annoys me about
pisses you off.
Money,
You don't say pisses you off.
what pisses me off about having people borrow money is when they pay you back and it's in installments, or it's just like you owe them $100 and they pay you back $10 here, $10 there, $10 over.
I need interest.
That is so
if we're gonna do a payment
annoying. But I also had this weird situation happen at my job where every time I go on my break, like I try to dip because my job, like people will be like, oh, you're taking a break. Can you get me a da-da-da-da? And I hate that shit. I hate it.
Because they don't give you the money?
Well, also just because I'm not Goro from Mortal Kombat. I don't have 6 arms. I'm not carrying I'm not carrying all your shit. Like I have like 6 people be like, oh, get me a coffee, a bagel, and I'll be carrying this all. So then I was leaving on my break and this person that works at my job's like, oh, can you get me a Pepsi? I was like, okay, it's like $1.50, $2, a bet. This happened like 4 times. Got them a Pepsi. They never paid me back.
That's $8.
And although it's
Things
cheap, things add up. And then I was talking to my other coworker about how I don't go and get this person drinks anymore because they don't pay me back. This person's like, really? They were so adamant about paying me back when I like. So it's just like
some people take advantage of other people.
I can't be bothered with money if it's not my family or a really close friend. Like, then I just don't ask me.
Yeah, I just recently had a coworker that literally asked me to do the same exact thing, but she actually reached out to me. I forgot. And she reached out to me like, hey, what's up? I'm just trying to figure out how much I owe you for this particular meal. I was like, okay, I will gladly go and grab you something to eat anytime because I know for sure you are a person that's going to be like, here's your money back. And you're going to take initiative on that. And that, I think to me, that speaks volumes as a person and a characteristic.
I think for me, in terms of like borrowing or having friends borrow money, I really don't do a whole lot of that exchange unless it's family or somebody really close. And that's only because I just don't want to be involved inside of the back and forth. I don't like having to ask people for my money back because it's just like, just give me my money back. I know if I was borrowing money from somebody, that would be on my mind the entire time. Stressed like for the week.
I feel like I'm in debt.
Okay.
Yeah, like I can't just, feel like I owe you back. And then if you're a close friend and you like help me out, that's my last resort to ask anybody for money. If I absolutely have to, I am thinking about a plan in which to return you that money. I also have a really bad habit, and I think Fabiola has gotten on me about this, about like just kind of doing things for people that might be financial, like, and not having the expectation, or I'll tell them, like, don't worry about it. I got you. Like, and so I never say I'm gifting people money a lot of the time. And then when you start to get inside of that habit, one, it maybe puts you inside of a loop where you might be getting taken advantage of. And then that situation gets so crazy. And then I hate confrontation. So I'm going to Fabiola and I'm like, can you ask? Because I know Fabiola, she'll be like, she don't have any issue with doing it. And I'm like, Fabiola, can you handle this? And so in order not to get inside that cycle, I just like am like, whatever. I only am really giving money to like my mom or like close family where I don't expect, like my mom to be paying me back.
But then there's people that make you, then like, let's say you do borrow, you let someone borrow, let's say $15, and then you don't get it back. Then there's those people that like, one, you feel petty for like making a big deal out of $15. Like I know me, like I'll be like, well, it's only $15. So like I feel bad about like pestering the person about it. But then there's those people that will be like, well, it's only $15. Damn, like it's not like I let you borrow. I borrowed $100. It's $15. They'll make you feel like you're petty for like
you're
sweating
crazy for asking for your money.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's a problem.
That's a huge
Because
problem.
you really don't know people's financial situation. And that's another reason why I find it to be an issue sometimes when coworkers automatically assume that you can just go out and buy everybody's lunch and then they'll pay you
Like,
back.
I might
Because
just have $10.
What if exactly,
don't know
I'm
my
starving
wallet.
right now and I'm about to go get me a $5 meal and I only got about $7, $10 in my bank account.
Okay.
Now you asking for Pepsi and you asking for a burger and I'm like,
Come on.
you're putting me in a very, very tough
Awkward.
situation right
I
now.
had an interesting situation happen last weekend when I had gone out for drinks with coworkers. We got into an argument because they're like, oh, one of my coworkers was like, oh, the next round is on Terrence. And I was like, excuse me.
Nah,
He was like, I was like, you don't know my financial situation. Don't just
At all.
assume
You can't-
that I can just be
you
like,
can't do that.
oh, another round. Just because I'm a
Another round
teacher.
on me.
was this coworker of color?
Yes, he was of color. And he was in the same position.
Was he
as
joking?
me.
Tell me he was
No, he was not
Deadass.
joking.
He was dead ass?
Yeah.
How could
Wow.
you? What makes you feel the boldness? Like I don't
Thing
know.
is, he-
Is this the millennial thing?
He
Like we
buys
just-
rounds all the time, but not because people tell him to. He just does it.
That's
He's
what's
just
up for
that type
him.
of person.
Yeah.
Does
But-
anybody else does anybody else buy rounds in that group and you're like the only person that doesn't?
No.
He's just being petty.
No.
He's the
No.
and it's his choice to buy the rounds.
It's his
Nobody's
choice.
telling you to buy rounds, and I'm not about to deny a free drink.
That's what I say. I'm like, listen, I don't.
But
Just
after he
round.
pulled that, I'm like, don't buy me anything.
Yep.
Like once people start showing their true colors on stuff like that, I'm like, all right, I'm good on you.
And a round of drinks is not cheap. I don't know why. That's like $80.
Yeah,
like
could-
if it's-
yeah,
That's a
depending
lot
on
of
how many
money.
people are
Yes.
there.
That's a lot of money.
And
Yeah.
people aren't just ordering the same drink. They're like going
Yeah,
up
no.
and ordering Ciroc and shit.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm not doing that unless if I can claim it on my taxes.
hey,
Yeah, so people
receipt.
people do assume your financial situation a lot. Like people assume that like, oh, this extra Pepsi isn't gonna, but you just never know.
Yeah.
And that's why I try not to. One, I don't when people go out for lunch, I never say like, oh, can you just pick me up? I'll just be like, yo, enjoy. But I have another coworker who is known to like go around and ask, "Oh, do you want anything? Do you want anything?" to
Yeah.
everyone
Oh,
at the
that's
job.
nice.
But now people are like expecting her to
like
do
taking
this.
advantage
Yes,
of this.
and now like,
Yeah.
every time she steps out, it's like, "Oh, can you get me this?" And now she's getting like, oh. And I was like, "Hey, I told you not to do that because people will start to see that you're that person and they have no consideration of
yeah.
Yep.
I don't-
And they're not passing you any money.
Right.
And my
or
whole-
they'll pay her like days after. But continue.
the thing that gets on my nerves that sometimes happens too, like I had this one situation, this does not happen often, but I had this one situation where somebody who I'm not really close to, I went to school with them inside of
I'm starting to laugh. I'm sorry. Let me listen.
yes, I'm not close to them. I went to school with them inside of like middle school, and you know, we keep in touch over social media. But she like hit me up in a panic one day and was like, I ran out of gas in my car and I was wondering if I could borrow like $30.
What?
Yeah. And of course I gave it to her like an idiot, but I let her borrow the $30. And then I had like sent it, and after that, but then she kept hitting me up and was like, did you send it? Did you send it? like, no. Do you have it? Do you send it? And I was like, I did send it, but if I didn't send it, like, why are you hassling me about the money you're asking me to borrow? And it just seemed like a level of just entitlement and being very ungrateful. And I was like, I'm never doing that again. I was like, you can never hit me up about anything and ask anything.
Yeah.
And
That's something that I learned early.
like,
Yeah.
I'm never doing anything like that again. Especially if I don't even really talk to you. And I don't know, maybe I was in a very like grateful mood that day, and I felt like,
Must've.
you know, and I was like, oh, I got it. I know her situation might be different, and you know, like, I'm in this, I have this idea, like, if I have it and I know that it's not going to put me in financial jeopardy and somebody asks, I'll give, because I feel like whatever energy you put out there is going to come back to you 10 times fold.
I hear
and
that,
exactly. But that was my mindset at the moment. I thought about it. I was like, Okay, I said, if she's hitting me up out of anybody, she must be really desperate. She must haven't had anybody like this is her last resort. And I'm not pretty sure.
Let me tell you something.
I don't know if I was her last resort.
She
but
probably found 10 people to give her $30 and she got $300 within 1 hour.
She probably did do that.
Let me tell you
and
something.
I was part of the scam.
Did you ever get it back?
Oh. No, I didn't get it back.
She ain't paying back. She gonna lose out on her $300. Listen, I had a similar situation, but I had a mentee. This is somebody that I had tutored at a very young age.
Okay.
I was like, freshly out of college or whatever, and he was in middle school. At this point in our lives, I think it was probably like last year, he asked me for $30 and I knew his living situation already. So I'm like, okay, he's having a tough time. And I actually keep in contact with him from time to time just to check in, see how he's doing. He was like, mentee. Then he reaches out to me just, in a panic, asking for $30.
Okay.
That's the thing. They reach out in a panic.
Yeah, for $30. And so I'm like, this is to me, he's a little kid because I'm older. I'm like I got a good decade or so on him. And so it's like, all right, cool. Let me go ahead and give you the $30. I know I'm in a much better situation financially than you are.
Yo,
so
that ain't yours, Steph. It's not hers. It's not hers. She had to reach.
I'm in a much better financial situation than you are. So I'll go ahead and give you the $30. No problem. I sent him off the $30 and I told him, understand that you are borrowing this.
Okay.
Understand that you're saying that you're going to give this to me by the end of the week on Friday when you get paid. All right. He's like, yeah, I got you. I promise I'm going to send this back. I was like, okay, cool. Friday comes. I don't get this money. 2 weeks later, he's like, hey, Miss B, I know I said I was going to give you the $30 back, but I didn't get a chance to get that because this, and this happened. Can you please just send me $20?
Wait, what? Now it's $50.
You'll be $50 in debt with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He didn't get the $20. So I'm not going to give you money ever again.
And did he ever give you back?
Nope. He never did. He never reached out to me even after that moment in that time. And so I was like, okay, cool. And the thing is, like, for me, like what you were explaining, like I learned very early that my generosity can be taken advantage of without a problem. Because I was actually very giving. The word no it flies off of my tongue so easily now. Like, in every single person in my family, friends and stuff like that understand that I can easily, no problem, even Steph, I can easily say, sometimes she'll ask me for something, my first answer is usually no. And I'm like, oh, wait, hold on a minute. For you, I should probably make a little bit, you're the one. So I should actually make a bit of an exception here. So, like, I understand how easily someone can take advantage of somebody else's generosity. So now, like, I have no problem telling you no because I need to protect mine at the end of the day. Like, I'm not going to be drained of all of my sense because, and I also mean like mental sense.
But you meant like sense.
But,
because
sense.
people will keep asking, taking.
For as long as they can until you say no. So my first answer is no.
Or until you don't have anything left. I just am like, once I'm gone away from here, you've just like drained and taken everything. You don't care.
Yeah. Judge
You're going to
Judy,
go on to the next person.
Judge Judy says that
Judge Judy.
money is the number one reason why relationships and friendships end.
Yeah. That's
And
true.
I believe that.
Yeah.
Me too.
I do.
I could see that
too.
being a problem.
So I'm hearing like, okay, y'all's generosity is the reason why you gave the money, but like, what if just to, and I may have asked this earlier, but just to keep the peace, what if you just don't bring it up? Like, is that an option? Like, do you just like, you know what? Yeah, TJ, you let Ro borrow $100. Months and months have gone by. Do you just drop it for the sake of the friendship? Or do you bring it up again? You're going to bring it up again. Look at your face.
No, I mean, it depends if
On what, babe? Because I think that's my question. Because I'm in a place now, y'all, where I'm like, yo,
I won't bring it up again, but I'll damn sure talk shit behind your back, though. I mean, I won't bring it up again, but I'll damn sure be like,
All right, well, y'all got the message. You know, like, don't have direct, honest conversations. Let's just be shady.
I'm dead serious. I will. I won't say anything, but I'll be like, this bitch to my friends.
Why won't you say anything? I'm curious.
Why not?
I mean, I know why I might not say anything, but I'm curious if your reason's
I don't
different.
know. One is if the person is still in financial strife, I'm not going to like press them for money that I know they probably don't have.
Got it.
No.
Secondly is, I I don't know. If I'm close with the person, it's just like, and if it was a small amount of money, not if it was like thousands of dollars, if it's like $30, it's just like, I don't know. It's just I have to care enough to want to press you about it. But
yeah,
I feel like the people who are always the ones like either giving the money or being quick to pay somebody back, it always pans out that they're more thoughtful about other people than the people they're loaning money to. Yeah. And I like see that as a common trend. Like the people who are always giving or paying back quickly, they just have this different level of awareness and
awareness.
Yeah, like the awareness and respect for other people in which they engage with. And the people who are more inclined to take advantage and like take and not really return, they just are missing that. Like I can't think about anybody else outside of myself.
Yeah.
And it's just selfish.
It is.
And like you said, TJ, what would really bother me is somebody that gets annoyed when you're asking for the money back. Like I could have gotten annoyed when you were asking for money in the first place, but I didn't. And I gave you the money. Now I'm here asking for this money back.
My money.
Within the deadline, by this deadline, I'm asking for my money back. And yet for some reason, you seem frustrated and annoyed that I'm actually asking for the money. I don't care if it's $1. Yeah. I don't care if it's 70 cents. I don't care if it's $100. Like if I'm asking you for my money, I literally loan this to you. You lucky I'm not asking you for interest. Are you lucky I didn't put this on paper and make you sign something for 20% interest up in here? Okay, like let's really talk about it. Like, don't get annoyed when somebody's asking for their money back because they didn't get annoyed. Maybe they did, but they didn't show you their annoyance when they handed over $10, $20, $100, or whatever it is. You know what I mean? That's a big deal to me, and that's a terrible characteristic to have if you're not even being aware.
I also don't think I've ever asked. I don't think I've ever asked a friend for money direct. If I need money, I always go to family. I will go to my sister, my mother, my brother, and I know that not everyone has that luxury, so I'm very lucky. But I would not go to friends. And I'll go to my family before a friend. Always. Always.
And I think this transcends just beyond money. Like, be grateful.
It's a principle.
Like, just be grateful. Like, if you're asking me to do something, like, how dare you get an attitude with me about anything? Like, be grateful. Like, people just need to be grateful. That's the word of the week, kids. Grateful.
Okay, for real.
Be grateful.
For real.
Because nobody owes you anything.
Shit. Jack squat.
Like, you're not owed anything. This level of entitlement is crazy.
Yeah, man.
Now, how about this scenario though? So let's say, Steph, you let me borrow something of yours. What are those dope ass Pharrell sneakers you have?
Oh my!
I love those.
Yeah, my sneakers. I don't know if they have a name.
I don't know either. But let's say
it says Motherland on them though.
Yeah, I like that. They're dope. What if you let me borrow those? Right? I ruin them. Something happened to them. Now, are you going to ask me
to replace them or pay it back?
Or pay it back?
Absolutely.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, you gotta do that.
Okay.
Without depreciation. I want fresh new pairs.
Okay. So you
of
whatever they're called.
Whatever they're called.
You need to replace
whatever
them.
it is.
Period.
Because that's rude and disrespectful. Like, oh well, broke them, messed it up.
And that's how
Jokes
it
on
works
you.
in the world. Like you can't
go
you can't go in anywhere and damage something and not have to pay it back. So
being disrespectful.
But then, like, what about the scenario of, okay, just to, like, if you let someone borrow something and then do you then go later on be like, hey, okay, there's like a level of like, oh, I did this thing for you. Now you're obligated to do like this favor for me. Have you ever had that happen?
I've had people have that.
Is that okay? Like, or is it like, you know, I did this kind thing for you, and now, like, do you ever feel like obligated to do something in return, like a quid pro quo kind of thing?
Obligated is a interesting word. I don't necessarily be feeling obligated, but I think I feel more open to being just, you know,
like it's not a flat.
Yeah, exactly. Like for me, I the main reason why I'm so quick to say no is because of the fact that I have been taken advantage of very easily in the past. So now I say no. But if I see that you have given to me then I'm more open to not saying no. I'm more open to saying, yes, sure, I'll help you out with doing something. And then sometimes I'll initiate it, but I do not expect anybody to do anything in return.
If I'm doing it from the kindness of my heart.
That's me. Yeah, that's me. Because I'm saying I'm going to do this, but I never expect, I don't know if this is because of my level of independence, but I never expect other people to do something for me at all. I barely even ask, which is a problem sometimes.
Yeah, she does not ask. I think balance is also important too, because I feel like in those scenarios, TJ, it's like, oh, could you like take my mail in the house for me? And then their request is, can you put a down payment on my car? It's like,
yeah, it's got to be a tip. It's got to match.
Like,
you know what I mean? The request got to match.
Equal favor.
And I'm not signing my name on it.
It's like, remember I brought your mail in the house? You can't co-sign my car?
Yeah.
It's like, come on, baby.
And I think that's also a problem. Like when somebody's also expecting something in return, I think that, I don't know, I feel like that's a problem. I don't like that when people do that. It's like, it's either someone is open and willing to give back or they're not. You know what I mean? For there to be an expectation there, then that sucks because expectations are dangerous.
Yeah,
they are.
It's not very. I mean, I just had a similar situation happen where over Christmas I got this friend of mine gave me a Christmas gift, an Echo Dot. And do you know what
I don't know what that is, baby. That's why I'm looking at you.
Well, it's like a device where you say like, hey, Alexa, and then you say like, oh, you ask it a question, it does it. Da. So I got one for Christmas. I told this person, I'm like, hey, don't get me anything because I didn't get you anything. He said, no, like I got this just because you mean a lot to me. And like, this is just a gift. So then I felt bad. And then I was like, okay. So I texted him and said, okay, I'll take you to dinner. But I did that only because I felt bad that he got me a gift and I didn't.
So you felt obligated?
Kind of. I just felt like, granted, he said, no, you don't have to get me anything. I got this because I care about you. Then I felt bad. And I was like, shoot, I should probably do something. Even if I don't get him a gift, I feel obligated to take him out to dinner because he thought of me during this time.
So this felt more like a burden as opposed to just being like, oh, that's so kind. Let me actually take you out to dinner.
It wasn't a burden. A burden, I don't think that's the right. It felt like just a natural, like you feel like
you want to return the kindness.
I kind of want to return like, hey, I care about you too, and you thought about me. And not to say that just because I didn't get you anything, I don't care about you, don't think about you, but you went out of your way to get me something. So I'm going to do the same for you.
I think that's like a pay it forward mentality, which I think is actually good. I think that's I don't know. I feel like something like that is just like spreading kindness and love. Like when you're in that space, you're like, oh, wow, that's so kind of you. Let me go ahead and return this kindness. Even though, he already expressed like, you don't have to do this, but you chose to do it because that inside of you wanted to like return something to him because he did something nice for you.
Yeah, I like that pay it forward mentality. And then I heard that and just the state of where the world is right now. Everyone's talking about mamba mentality.
And
so
mentality?
Mamba mentality as a tribute to Kobe. His nickname was Black Mamba.
Like from Kill Bill?
Yeah, like from Kill Bill.
Yeah, that was a good movie.
But the Mamba mentality, I think, is a very...
I didn't know that was his nickname.
It just embodies, like...
It's a snake.
Love. Yes. Are you listening?
We are all aware of what it is.
I know, but that is a species of snake. But anyways, continue.
We know all of that. That's not important. What I'm trying to say is that the Mamba mentality is something that you embody that showcases... I don't know, like strength, dedication, grind, love, paying it forward. I think it goes well. And I've seen people pair this concept of the mama mentality with Nipsey Hussle's Hustle and Motivate idea and like the marathon continues sentiment. And I just wanted to add this last piece that I think connects to, having that mentality around this conversation about, like asking and giving. Like for me, I think there's another element that or another process that I go through. And I really think about what position I would be putting other people in when I ask for a request. And so I say that to just be like, you should be mindful about like the type of energy you're bringing people that you care about and the positions in which you might be putting them in. And just Fabiola's example a little bit earlier, like a coworker, like immediately expecting or asking, hey, can you pick me up like a full meal, and not really considering like, is this going to make her feel uncomfortable? Does she have the money? Like going through an internal dialogue of questioning by putting yourself in other people's shoes and understanding like, how am I going to make my friend feel if I ask them for $500 right now? Are there like different avenues or a different way in which I can go about this? Can I take a step back and think about how I can step up and have a Mamba mentality and like figure this out myself before creating that, putting that burden on my family and friends? And so I think that's also a very important element to this discussion is, guys, figure out how you can preserve the love and relationships that you have with those around you, and really just do things for yourself and try to figure out a way to make it happen. Because at the end of the day, I feel like you're always going to have yourself, and just make it a last minute resort to ever depend on anybody else for anything.
Put yourself. Man.
Yeah, I think that's huge. I think that's super huge, and that makes a lot of sense in terms of like owning your own independence, like really operate from that. And honestly, there are a lot of times, and I do this on purpose. There's going to be a secret revealed, but there are a lot of times when people might ask me to do something or might ask something from me, I might say no at first, even though I know I'm fully capable of doing it, or I'm like, catch me in a little bit or a little bit after, because I want to make sure that you've exhausted all your options by this point, because I know I've already said yes in the past and stuff like that. And by saying yes, sometimes people are like, word, I'm going to go ahead and go for it again and ask again and ask again. And then at a point it's like, damn, like, am I your only source? And
are you becoming dependent?
Exactly. And you're becoming dependent. And so it's kind of like, I'm going to now have to say no this next time, and even though I could fully be capable of doing it, I could rearrange my schedule if need be, or I could pull out another $1 or so, or whatever. But I need to know that you've actually exhausted all your other options, because then yes, you are becoming dependent, and that means that you're probably going to continue to do the same thing. You're going to operate inside the same cycle, and that's going to be a problem. But this huge thing, the biggest thing that I think that Stef had said that I think is super important, is all consolidated into the word awareness that you brought up. Like, really understand other people's shoes. Like, recognize that. Yeah. Thanks for bringing that up.
For real. And then I think one last point I wanted to hear from y'all is, now in those situations, so when a friend asked you to borrow the money, you had said, don't worry about paying me back. Okay, those were your words. But then
I don't ever say
later.
That, but
okay, I don't know. Okay, that's you, boo. Because I know
I gave that example.
I know I've done that. I'm like, don't worry about paying me back, and then I'm having to like renege on that. Like, what are y'all's thoughts? Is that grimy of me as a friend to be like, yo, I know I had said you didn't have to pay me back, but like I'm in a tough space now. Like, let me get my money back.
Yeah, so
that's grimy ?
Yeah, I mean, here's my thing. Like, I think I don't do that either. Like, was TJ for that reason?
That's why I don't say that,
because I'm not in a position to just be handing out money willy nilly. I'm really not. So I'm not gonna be like,
I'm doing it anyway.
Yeah, that's exactly why we had that talk, because I'm like, we ain't got the cash to just be like $10 everybody or next round's on me. Absolutely not. I don't have that kind of money. You know what I mean? So I just don't even lead with that. But I think inside of your position, I think you should be able to feel open to ask them for whatever you need. You know what I mean? Because if they and not borrow it, not be like, hey, can I borrow? Or maybe you want to do that, either way, but you should feel comfortable with being able to ask them, because they asked you and you gave it. So you should feel comfortable with being able to ask them in some capacity, right? Unless if they're that kind of person to be like, oh, you're asking me for money. This kind of messes with our relationship now. This is supposed to be a one-sided situation.
Yeah, I agree. I don't say that for that reason. I just don't say like, oh, don't worry about paying me back. I don't think I've ever said that. Ever. Unless it's like maybe I bought like something from the Dollar General or like
something like small.
Like something really small. It's just like, just don't worry. But $10, don't pay me. No, you're paying me back my money. I don't, because then if you say that, you can't renege it. You can't say actually.
$10.
That is so beat.
I've been in that situation where like somebody has let me borrow some money and they were like, "Yo, bro, don't worry about it." And I'm like, "Bet." And then they come back, actually, and I'm like, "Oh,
no, that is so tacky." That's why you don't say that.
You don't say that.
Yeah,
the face, bro.
Because then the person is not, and that's another thing too. Like if somebody told me like, "Don't worry about paying me back," I'm still paying you back.
Yeah,
I'm paying
that's what
you
me
back.
too.
Like
me too.
They're like, "Hey, don't worry about it." I'll be like, "Oh, that's so very kind of you." And then I'll just be sending them their money just because I'm not want to be in debt to anybody. I don't want anybody talking to somebody and
behind my back
and have behind my back and ever
TJ
be able to say like they did something for me and I didn't like match that energy. Like nah, man, I'll be paying you back.
So, moral of the story is pay him back.
Please do.
Pay him back. And be
pay
aware.
It forward.
And pay it forward.
Yes, it is.
Right? Pay him back, pay it forward. But thank you for bringing that, because that's a situation and an issue I think a lot of people end up going through, but never actually say anything about it. I do. But a lot of people do not, like Stef, Ro.
It's horrible if it's your significant other too. Like I'm sure that adds another layer of complexity when it's someone that like, I don't know.
I think that's a different type of relationship exchange.
Yeah.
Do you think?
I think it also depends on how deep you are into it. I feel like if it's like, because I feel like we just share so much, it's kind of hard to be like, oh,
Let me get my money back.
If I need
remember that $50 that I paid for it on that, like,
or it goes like, you paid for dinner last night. I got this one.
Right.
Yeah, I never think about it.
It's not. Yeah, I don't think about it that.
If it's large amounts,
Judge Judy did say money is one of the leading causes to relationships ending. So
I think that's because I think that's because people are on two different pages on how it's being spent,
and they're not,
and it's debt going on.
Exactly. So now, obviously, if there's debt and both of y'all names are on that debt, now it's a whole other story. I mean, we would be having a conversation,
a long talk.
Yeah.
Fabiola is the one who's most responsible with money, and I'm like, ooh, shiny.
And she's like, sit your ass down.
I want.
That's good. I like that balance.
Yeah,
it's necessary.
Yeah, but thank you for bringing this.
Thanks, Ro.
Yeah, thank you,
to the table, a necessary combo.
Yes,
indeed.
Now it's the word of the day.
Word of the day.
You don't need to do
word
that.
of the day.
I like that.
Word of the day.
You don't.
What about mine? Sorry, go ahead, TJ. Word of the day.
The word of the day is actually a word. It's an adjective, and it's beholden.
What does that mean?
Beholden. It's actually from a song, but anyways, I won't get into the song because
Christina Aguilera.
Yes,
I figured.
How did you know that? So the word is beholden, and it means owing thanks or having a duty to someone in return for their help or services. So I don't think. Well, I chose this word because it relates to what we're talking about, but also, I don't think anyone is beholden to anybody. I think that if you're going to do something like give money or let someone borrow anything, it should be out of the kindness of your heart and because you genuinely want to help them, not because you want them to be beholden to you, and you should not feel beholden to them just because they did you a kind service. Like it should be. I just think you should always move with the intent of just wanting to help and not for like, oh, you did this for me, now you're obligated to do something in return. Yeah, I think that's like a generally just a good way to move.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. That's that pay it forward mentality.
That Mamba mentality.
Mamba mentality.
How long has he had that nickname?
Very long time, decades.
So long.
Yeah, so we're not going to touch on that.
Yeah, because it's homework time.
Time
right.
for
I didn't know that.
No, but Mamba mentality, or just Black Mamba rather. It's been around for a while. Very long time. Yeah, man.
Homework, guys.
What is it?
You are beholden to do your homework. And that is to follow us on Instagram if you aren't already at the Beans Talk Podcast. You hit that link in bio and it will bring you to all of our platforms, including YouTube where you see us cutting up. Go ahead, like, subscribe, comment, blow up our notifications and let us know how you feel about this topic and how you pay it forward and how you embody a Mamba mentality. And as always, we love you.
We do.
We love you.
All right, so
for sentimental reason.
That wasn't bad. Okay.
No, that's bad.
Cut it.
Bye, guys.
Ciao.
Hey!